Alright, lads and lasses, I'm Eccentric Racer, and yes, I am now officially back on YouTube, recording stuff again. Thank you to everyone that has stuck with me and been patient whilst I've been away. I have released a Burnout 3 video that is a bit more edited and things like that. If you don't like that style of video, do not panic, because not every single video is going to be like that. That's only really going to be my Twitch highlights. You know, the stuff I'm going to do is probably a little bit more commentary on certain things, but not everything's going to be like that. I just needed a break. Anyway, that is not why you're here. You're here because you want to know what I think the current state is of Forza Horizon 5. Now, I'm going to say this, I'm going to stress this enough. This is entirely my view on this. Your view might be different. You might think this is the best Forza Horizon. Good on you. But I will wholeheartedly disagree. But, you know, your opinion is your opinion. I'll respect it, we'll agree to disagree. But if you won't respect my opinion, I don't really care, I want you to bugger off. Anyway, let's get into the meat of things. Forza Horizon 5. I've been playing this game now for about 250 hours. I've explored all different aspects of it. I've played the Eliminator, I've done Horizon Tour, I've done a bunch of the multiplayer stuff, and I've tried to host videos on it and things like that. I've done a lot of things, and I want a lot of those hours back. This game is in such an awful state. It really, really is. And I think a lot of the issues with this game stem from Forza Horizon 4 when that game was being updated more and more. Because that game felt that the updates were just being thrown out there just to keep the game relevant. And really, I think that game should have just died earlier so they could have focused on this game a little bit more. And this should have been in a better state than what it was released in. Because this is a travesty of a modern racing game. It is. I have so many issues with this game. This is the second time recording it. The previous one I took an hour. That's how many issues I've got with this game, that I have to do it in an hour. So, let's talk about the main things. That I'm not going to say everything in FH5 is bad. I'm going to start off with the positives. And the positives is, to be honest, the car list in this has interesting additions. The DLC cars and some of the exclusive cars to Forza Horizon 5 are actually pretty exciting, I will admit. This XJ220S, I've been wanting this game in Forza ever since PGR4 came out, back in 2008, I want to say. And FH5 now has it. There's been some other exciting additions as well. You know, we've got this Dodge Magnum, the Ford SVT Lightning, we've got the Noble M400, for example, the MG X-Power, Mazda 323. So there is a lot of exciting DLC cars that have been added to this game. Renault 8, for instance. So I'm not going to say that the car list is the worst in the world, because it's not. There is good stuff here. But the car list at the same time is also not that good. And a lot of the issues stem from this, the festival playlist. Now, do not get me wrong, some of the cars that were in the festival playlist exclusive to FH5 have been good. MG3, for example, has been one of them. You can see there, hard to find. The MG3, we've got some new ones. The F8 Tributo, the SF90, whilst I'm not really the most excited for them, you know, it is nice to at least see them. We've got the DeLorean DMC12 back in FH5. That's been missing since FM4. We're talking 10 years ago, going up to 11 years ago. You know, there is good, exciting cars that have been exclusive to FH5 added. You know, the Celica 03, that's been missing for years, and that's now officially back. So, yeah, the new stuff that they're adding it back to Horizon 5, a lot of it has been good. But not all, because a lot of the other stuff are just cars that were omitted from FH4 for For what reason? I can't tell. Right, I can't tell why that 911 was missing from the launch of FH5. The KTM Crossbow, the Noble M600, just a lot of cars really that should have been in from launch and just weren't. For a reason I don't know. Sky KZ10, that was an FH4, it got omitted, and then we had to wait until April to re-get that car again. And the game came out in sort of October, November time. So it's just, the car list is just, it's, the amount of cars that got omitted and then just being added back as new content, it's just, I don't really get it. Like, I don't like the fact that a lot of the old, so many cars have been missing from FH4. Like, here's the thing. Technically, FH5 launched with more cars than FH4. FH4 launched with about 450. This game launched with about 530. But FH4 left us with 730 odd. I think 735. So that is a lot of cars. That's 200 cars that have been omitted from the launch of FH5. That's a lot. That is a stupid high amount, considering, they want to pride themselves on a vast array of cars, but in this, it's not even that vast array. The car list isn't that really exciting. We've got the cool additions here and there, but it's just nothing out of the ordinary that we've had from anything else. Like, we've got the water, we've got the Apollo IE, aerial atoms. The Aston Martins are absolutely lacking in this game. I'll go on the car collection so you look a little bit better. Also, as well, the little card icons here, there's just no quality control whatsoever. Like, why is the KTM that small and all the way back there? I'm pretty sure a little bit further down, one of the new cars that came out somewhere, I can't remember which one it was exactly, but doesn't have a shadow. I think it was the McLaren, or that might have been, no, I think the McLaren was in the garage, and then the Huracan Evo had no shadow when you were going to buy the car. So there's no quality control whatsoever. However, I've got other issues with the car list. Aston Martin have been absolutely shafted this at the minute, from launch. 8 Aston Martins. Excuse me, I'm having a cup of tea. 8 of them. That's nothing. Considering Aston Martin have been around with us for absolutely years, and that's all we get is 8. We get a DB, we get the DB5, the V12 Vantages, the Vulcan AMR Pro, the DB11, the Valhalla, the newer DBS, and the newer Vantage. Cool. But where's the DB9? Where's the car that actually saved Aston Martin? The DB7. We've got the DBR1, the DB4, the Lagonda hasn't been in a game, in a Force game. That'd be cool to see. But we've got the Rapide, the DB9, the older V8 Vantage, the Valkyrie. They've released an AMR Pro of the Valkyrie now. But the thing is that you might want to make the argument of, a lot of the older cars. There's updated ones. There's an updated Vanquish and Rapide. So why is it just Aston Martin have been absolutely shafted? Like, Ferraris, we've got a good amount of Ferraris. We've got 38 Ferraris. And, it's just all the ones that we have seen before. Like, the only interesting ones that have been out is obviously the FXXK Evo, and we've got these two. Look, the Monza, the J50, the Challenge, the 488 Challenge, and obviously these two. And then everything else is just what's been in previous Forzas. Like, we got this recently. Well, that was in previous Forzas, so it's not really anything new. And then the Ford. Admittedly, there is a 63rd one, but if you pay, I don't know, it's like 60 quid for a controller, and then you get a Forza edition. No, I'm not spending 60 quid for that. There's 62 Fords, which means that 10% of this car list is made up of Ford. And if you're a Ford fan, cool. But we've got enough Fords. Like, you know, the recent one was the, like I said, the SVT Lightning. That's a mint edition, I will admit that. But I don't want any more Fords for the time being. We've got enough. You know, we've got Mustang, we've got the Broncos, we got a Mach-E recently, and then, you know, Mustang. There's so many. I don't want more Fords. I want the love to be shared to other manufacturers. You know, we've got plenty of Ferraris, you know, why not add maybe like the very first generation Dodge Viper or something like that, or maybe like the older Mustangs. It's like Mustangs. We've got Chargers and Camaros and things like that, and Challengers. And maybe I was at Dodge, not they don't have a Camaro, but you get my point. You know, Chevrolet. We've got 26. You know, that's all cool and whatnot, but it's just some additions there's just some emissions I just don't really get. It would have been better off just having, it needs other stuff except for just Ford. Because that was the issue with FH4, they were just adding constant Fords. And I was just getting bored, I didn't want any. I didn't want any more Fords. Like, another one, for instance, Bentley. You know, we've got the most recent Continental and Bentayga, but we've got nothing else. 8 litre, 4.5 litre, yeah, sure. They were in, you know, whoop-de-doo, they were in the previous ones, but there's just nothing here. There's just nothing for Bentley. Lotus as well. I've been completely ruined as well. The Carlton, that took like 3-4 months to be re-added. I don't get it. Like Maserati as well. We don't even have the regular MC12. Why? Why do we not have the MC12? Why do we not have the Ghibli? Even the old. Why do we not have the Grand Sport? There's just so many stupid things that have been missing. Like Lotus, there's no Esprit. There's no Exige Cup. There's no 211. There's no at least 111. There's none of that. So there's just years of Lotus missing. And like I said, there's no Esprit. How can we not have the Lotus without the Esprit? The Esprit V8, the Esprit Turbo. They're iconic. And the fact that they're just missing, it's just, I don't get it. Oh yeah, Myers Manx Forza Edition. That also doesn't have a shadow. That's what there's just nothing of quality control. Like Mitsubishi, like this has been always an issue with Forza, is that we've got the 6, 8, 9, and then the 10. And then that's basically all we've had for Mitsubishi. Like, you know, with this, we've got the GTO, the Eclipse, and the Stallion, but we've got nothing else. We haven't got the Galant, we haven't got, like, a Legnum, we haven't got the Evo 3, 4, 7. Like, why, you're starting out at 6, why are you jumping to 8? Add the Evo 7. There's just so many cars I just don't understand. And, like, what's it, this Peugeot 205, I don't care. You're starting to get the point, like, you know, we've got Porsches, we're going up to 34, 35. You know, fair enough, that's a country with a lot of cars, that's a car company with a lot of cars and things like that. All cool. I'm just waiting for them to start adding the Celine Mustang, so we have even more of the things. Subaru as well is another issue I have, because we haven't got, like, the legacies. So, there you are. It's just, I don't get it. Oh yeah, TVR Tuscan, not in this game. So why remove it for so many years, add it back in FH4, and then remove it again? I don't understand. I really do not understand. So, that's the thing about the car list, is, I think, some parts of it are good. However, a lot of it is terrible, because if you want all the unique cars, you have to get the car pass. Otherwise, you're just getting basically, you're getting, like, 2, 3 cars from that was already in FH4 back in the game in a month. So you're only getting, like, 1 brand new car. Like, it's stupid, that. It really is. So that's enough about the cars. I'm not going to go into, like, the meta and things like that, because, frankly, I don't actually care about the meta whatsoever. Let's talk about the map. It's not the worst map that exists in Forza Horizon. It's a better, in my opinion, this is better than Forza Horizon 4's map, because Forza Horizon 4 felt flat. It really did just feel absolutely flat. This game, it does feel like the elevation is actually a thing, you know. A lot of the play, yeah, sure, there's some flat areas, like for example over here, Player as You, this is majoritively flat. But like if you go over here, it's quite bumpy and things like that. FH4 for me, it literally just felt like the map was just ironed. Like everything was just flattened. It was just not an exciting map at all. This is a better map. It's still not my favourite. I still don't think it's anywhere near as good as FH2. And also as well, a lot of the race routes I don't think are brilliant. I really don't think. There's some I like, Tierra Prospera being one of them. I do quite like Tierra. I do quite like Estadio. Moulege is a pretty nice one in my opinion. Emerald, it would be alright if the pebbles didn't slow you down so bloody much. Bahia, it's an alright one. A little bit boring if you're in slower cars, because then you just basically, you know, you brake for a corner, and then that's it, if you're in really slow cars. Oh, cool, it's not safe the fact I got the treasure chest. Amazing. Also, as well, the snow. I don't know why we have it. I get it, it's at the top of a volcano, and we're in Mexico, so having it in one location, but really, just... Even the seasons don't feel different. The only one that feels vastly different is Storm. Because over here you get, like, the proper dust storms, and then, you know, you get torrential rain and whatnot, and that's it. Everything else just feels the exact same, and just looks the same. So, it's... The seasons don't really do anything to it. Like, you know, FH4, when it was winter, everything was in snow, and it looked gorgeous. This, it's just snow there, and that's it. So basically, summer, well, it's basically just the dry season, except you have snow at the top of the volcano. So, I don't really get the point. So hopefully, the next expansion will actually focus heavier on snow, because snow tires are the most useless upgrade in the game, unless you literally want to race there. Then it's useful for there, and then that's it. Why? So there's a few of the race routes I like. The other issue is, I've had this issue with FH4, and that's the street furniture. It's on the bloody racing line all the time. I hate it, and I don't know why. It just can't be getting rid of, because in this, it does slow you down. Alright, okay, fair enough, it slows you down a lot. Like, the pebbles at Emerald Circuit are absolutely lethal. They're tiny little pebbles, and yet they will almost bring your car to a dead stop. Even if you're in something heavier. Like, why? I don't, like, of all the things, small pebbles should not be reducing my speed down to about 40 miles an hour from 90. And then we go to all the city circuits with all the street furniture, but they're all on the racing line. A lot of them is on the racing line. So basically, it just causes more accidents. Because you then have to take wonkier lines to avoid the street furniture, or you just punt through it, get yourself slowed down, and then someone behind you is just going to ram you up the arse because they have nowhere to go. So, it's just in silly locations and should be removed. Like, you know, FH2 had it, yes, but they were not always on, you know, you could take more opportune lines, or if you were going to punch through the street furniture, it didn't slow you down by horrific levels. In this, it does. So, I really just hate the street furniture, especially here at Bola Ocho. There are 2 lampposts I constantly crash into. It's around here, and then this one here, because it's hidden behind a checkpoint. So you literally want to take the opportune line, you just smash into a lamppost. This bit is entirely uphill, so then you've just lost so much speed. Like, you can't gain back. I don't get it. And then Tierra Prospera has a bloody wheel that's there. Why? Why is there a wheel there? There's no other street furniture that's in the way. Just one wheel, and it just slows you down at stupid levels. You get the point. I just have so much frustrations with it that a lot of the race routes here just don't produce that great racing. It really doesn't, in my opinion. And you know, I've always, whilst, yes, I have always felt that the motorsport franchise, I've had better racing on that. In FH5, yes, I'm not the greatest at it whatsoever. I miss checkpoints all the time. But even when I don't miss the checkpoints, just... I don't know. The racing on this just seems so much... it seems so rare to actually have very close battles, unless... Well, I mean, to be honest, it's not impossible, but I don't know. It doesn't seem to warrant... It doesn't seem to have the closer racing. Also, as well, some of you may have noticed there is a glitched out drivatar symbol here. Why it's there, I don't know. But when you're creating custom routes, you will always see that drivatar there. I don't know why it's there, but it just is. Yeah, I don't get it. So, we'll now move on to the blueprints, and I'm going to have a drive around in the Jaguar, so you're not just staring at a map. The blueprints stuff, you know, it is good fun to actually have some of the blueprint stuff. You know, you can have crazy rule sets, like when we had the catch-up racing, where people had different amounts of horsepower depending on where they were. And when we did actually use that, they were some of the closest racing we've ever had, because it, you know, it brought the skilled drivers back in a bit with less power, and let the lesser skilled drivers catch up. And we had some absolutely glorious racing. But in one of the updates, they've broken it. They literally just flat out broke it. And it's not new that Forza updates break things. It's been happening. Pretty sure FM7 had that issue. FH4 was definitely having those issues, and this is no stranger to it. So they just completely broken it, and they've probably fixed it now. Honestly, I haven't a clue, because I have not had any sort of enthusiasm to actually want to pick up and play this game anymore, because there's just so many issues with it, and honestly, I don't see the point. So yeah, that's the reason why we haven't been bothered with the blueprint stuff. And when it comes to a track creator, you can make incredible stuff, do not get me wrong, but I don't understand why we do not have a prop snapping tool like we do in GTA 5 if you want to create some circuits in the sky. So it just adds unnecessary faff. Now, I mean, to be honest, if you're good enough at the track creation, this probably isn't an issue for you, but it is for me. Like I said, this is just my views on stuff, so there you are. I don't understand why we can't have that, considering this focuses on the racing aspect, and GTA 5, I would argue, has a better track creator. That's in a much older system, but it is what it is. At least in GTA 5 as well, the map doesn't constantly deload. Okay, because that's the thing that's always amusing. If you're creating stuff in the sky, you look around, and then you just realise that a lot of the map doesn't actually load in whatsoever. It's just void, because the game's so horribly optimised. Like, I'm playing this on the Series X right now, and you know, you would have thought that, you know, more powerful console, the entire island, yeah, sure, probably not rendering like the trees and whatnot from miles away, but you know, you would have thought that they would have done a little bit more, at least have like the basic outline of the map available. But a lot of the time it just doesn't, because you just see the amount of pop-ins and things like that. You won't be able to see it from here, because it's kind of like it's at that border of wanting to. It's at that border of it's not sure whether it wants to not be fully rendered in or rendered in, so it just deletes itself and then pops back in. But again, that was an issue with FH4. So, you know, I'm not going to say this is FH5's fault, because it isn't. FH4 had the exact same issue. So, yeah, I've gotten sidetracked. We'll go back onto the blueprints now. So, when they broke it, I've seen some people, right, particularly Noobster, who has been around for a little while, He's, I've raced with him plentiful, and he was wanting to do a blueprint event with 6 people, and it broke. It completely broke. Half the time it wouldn't actually load them in, and then when it did load them in, they loaded in the air staggeredly. And this was just a custom event. They just loaded in staggeredly. They didn't even, and they just loaded not even at the starting line. And like when Men was creating some custom tracks, he wouldn't actually start at the starting line either. He'd start outside or wherever constantly. So they weren't even. It's like, and this was before they just completely broke it. Like they didn't even load the things in correctly. I'll drop the controller a little bit. So, it's just typical Forza at this point of they fix one thing, they update one thing, and then break 50 others. It's still true. Because it's just constantly going and going on. Because, well, there's no easy way to put it, this game never had a strong launch. This has had an incredibly weak launch. I'd honestly argue this is about as weak as Forza Motorsport 7 when that launched. And Forza 7's launch was absolutely crap. That was terrible at launch. This is also terrible. FH4, that launched great. That launched pretty damn well, but then ended badly. I'm not driving this XH20 well at all. It's got no brakes. But this game just launched terribly, and it's still just awful. The amount of, like, I get it, early access, there's going to be a lot of bugs, fair enough. But in the state it was in, it should have been delayed. It really should have been delayed, because it was so awful. You could barely stay in a convoy. Jesus Christ, the brakes. You could barely stay in a convoy for a minute. You'd be constantly disconnected, you'd be constantly booted to 0 miles an hour, no matter what. Starting up a race was a rocket dream. It was easier to be a brain surgeon than to actually get a lobby together on this. And, well, whilst it is easier to get into a lobby for FH5, getting the entire lobby connected for a race is a pipe dream in on itself. That one video that we recorded a while ago of the, the cover car races, whilst it took us 2 hours to do one race, because we could not get at least 1 or 2 people connected. We wanted to get everyone in, everyone racing, this was an evening where all the stars aligned, everyone was available, and things like that. So we wanted to get it done. It took us 2 hours to do one race. It's something that should have been taken, 45 minutes. Just to give some time for people to go AFK, do what you need, toilet breaks, whatnot. So it should have been about 45 minutes for at least the entire event, maybe an hour, to be more realistic. Not 2 hours to do one event, because that is just absolutely ridiculous that we should have to wait that long to do an event, and then we would still have issues throughout that evening of still trying to get people connected and things like that. So it was just absolutely ridiculous, and we were just getting fed up. Like, even when it comes to Group 2, a lot of the time, for doing Bowser Community, a lot of the time, I won't say a lot of the time, but a fair amount of the time, the entire lobby would just fail to load. So it was just, there's just no greatness whatsoever when trying to get things set up. So now we will talk about the main issue. The biggest issue that Forza Horizon 5 has had, and still has, to this day. That is the multiplayer. It is shockingly bad. It is absolutely disgraceful, considering they pushed this game to be, doing everything online type of thing. Yeah, sure, you could do a lot of it single player, but, there's clearly a lot of stuff you want to do multiplayer. Like, we've got the Horizon Tour, the Horizon whatchamacallit, the trial. You've got all these leaderboards and things like that. A lot of stuff like rivals as well. And yeah, it's stupid. It is broken. You can get into a Horizon Tour event alright. That's not an issue. You know, a lot of the time, Horizon Tours really is the place to go to try and get people connected. Because, well, somehow, because that works better than actually trying to host stuff yourself. Because it is absolutely ridiculous. You know, I made an entire point about it earlier. We could barely get anyone connected for anything. So let's talk a little bit more about the multiplayer. And everyone knows it's no secret. The Rivals is just pointless. Like the Rivals leaderboard. Everyone knows it. If you don't know it, then I'd be absolutely surprised. Because they are just the absolute most useless thing. The only way to tell what is actually a good lap, you have to do research yourself. So, you know, we're going to look at S1. Oops. We're going to look at S1. We'll go for the Rivals. Obviously, we've got the Global. Here you are. That's the record at the minute. 3.7 seconds. And there are so many speed hackers and whatnot that are just getting away with it because they just do not care about this game whatsoever. Like, I've seen a speed hacker like in the trial, and not only that, it was a grip hack as well. Like, I'm sorry, but they're just getting away with just nothing's going on. Just nothing. They're doing nothing with it. Like, I'm going to give an example. It's Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, right? That game had a lot of issues with the tracks because, you know, some people are doing like speed glitches and things like that so that the checkpoints wouldn't really work properly. So they were just able to skip an entire lap by falling off the track and then spawning behind the start-finish line. They then fixed all that, but then not only that, they just refreshed the entire leaderboard, so now you knew what good times were. So, you know, a little developer like that fixes their leaderboards. These, no. They're just completely broken. You get the point. I'm struggling to find words with just how balked this really is, just how awful it is. And I've seen a video as well of someone using rewind because, well, you know, they had an incident on the first corner and they don't want to have that dirt lap dirty, so, you know, they rewind to start that lap again. Fair enough. The game then just bugs out and then gives them a 0-second lap. Literally just 0 seconds. Considering they are literally... They're literally having to just load one car, a ghost, and just have times. And you just go through checkpoint. It just works normally. The fact that the lap that even the Rivals itself is balked. The start-finish line of the official Horizon routes are just completely broken. It's an honest surprise that this has even made it into full AAA price, because this honestly does not feel done. This feels unfinished still. And we are now into, what? This game being about 6-7 months old? I think 6? 5, I can't tell. And it still feels like we're in beta. Because there's just so many glaring optimization issues with it. Speaking of optimization, if you have a Xbox One without a solid state, don't bother with this game. Absolutely do not bother. They have updated it a little bit so that the game soft locks a little bit less, and things like that. However, the sound bugs are still massively rampant. A lot of the time, I'm just going through the upgrade shop, and I'm not doing anything rash, like changing, like keep the engine revving and then swapping the engine. I'm literally just going through the menus, just upgrading my car, and then the sound would just completely cut out. Just completely. And then the game would soft lock for a little while, and then all the sound effects would catch up again. Like, I've got videos where the sound just completely bugs out of certain stuff, so you already know that I've got proof of it. Not only that, when I plug in the Elgato, all the sound just breaks. I've not had another game that does that, when I can just plug in the Elgato whilst I'm in the game because I want to record something, and the entire sound breaks. Not another game I have played does that. I'm not going to say that it's only this game that does it. That's not true. There's probably something else out there, but this is the one that I've had so many recording issues with. That driver star's still having a rave down there. So excuse me. Back to the optimization thing. One thing that really does annoy me is how certain, like, just the quality. Like, this game is clearly designed for the Series X. I understand that, but why there should be two versions of this game. Do it like what Wreckfest have done. Do it like what GTA Online have done. Admittedly, they're charging you for it, but they upgraded it and they are completely different systems. With Wreckfest, for example, you can still join in on the Xbox One servers. However, there are specific servers just for you, for those on the Series X, and they're the 24 multiplayer ones. Because, you know, the Xbox One just wouldn't be able to handle it. That is how you do it properly. That's optimization done correctly, of having 24 multiplayer lobbies exclusive for those on the Series X. And for the Xbox One, they can't have access to that server. That's completely fine. Because, well, you know, if the regular Xbox One can't, if the Xbox Ones can't handle it, don't let them, you know, don't have that option there. That's completely fine. But this game has got weird optimization. Like I said, the sound bugs are constant. The game's soft locking is constant. I've had so many crashes on the Xbox One. On the Series X, it's fine. But the Xbox One, it's just terrible. Also, as well, little things I don't understand. The main one, and there's probably other ones that I haven't quite discovered yet. Yes, even with all 250 hours, because frankly, I literally just played the game on a Thursday, get the car, possibly do the Bowser Community, and then do something else. That's literally all I do now on FH5. Because there's nothing else. There's literally nothing else in this game. Yeah, sure, we're waiting on an expansion at some point, but at the minute, there's just nothing. So I would wait until the expansion comes out at least before you even look at this game. But if you've got Game Pass and it's free, no harm. The trees at Chihuahua Circuit, I have complained about many times, and I will keep going on about it until the day I die. Why do these not respawn on the Series X, but do on the Xbox One? Why? Of all the things, why is that the case? I don't get it. But, you know, I've done that point to death, so you're probably bored of me going on about it. So, now we get on to another big issue I have, and it's... And we're going back to about the cars, but there's a huger issue I have with them, and that's the convertibles. Now, when they announced the game was going to have convertibles, I was actually happy. I was excited for that. because I thought, ooh, you know, if we're going to have convertibles, does this mean we're going to have more soft tops going to be added to the game? We're going to have more little two-seaters being able to take the roof off. Things, for example, like the VX220. Like, you know, we'll be able to take the roof off that if it was in the game. But, you know, I think of all the things. Like, you know, we'd be able to have, like, the roofs coming off on those. Maybe like some of the Targa top cars being able to remove the roof. Now, some of them, the convertible works completely fine. Like, you know, you stand still, you then press the left stick. You can't activate convertibles if you want. If you don't want to have that option, then, you know, that's fine. But, you know, it works normally. Like, you know, we'll go in this McLaren 720S Spider. Like, you know, this is an example of a convertible that works completely fine. So, you know, you know, no sounds like that. And then if we go to third person, I'll press left stick and you can see, you know, the roof goes down as normal. And I can't accelerate. Unless I put up the telemetry, then you can. But yeah, you can see there, roof goes down, and that's all fine. And things like that. And then the sound is a lot different. And like, you know, so I'm just going to put telemetry and then just drive around and things like that. Yeah, this isn't a new bug, by the way. It's, you know, it is still amusing, but this is nothing new. So that roof works perfectly fine. And then another example is like the Ferrari California. You know, that roof goes, you know, it goes up, all the animated and things like that, and then goes down, and that's all fine. The California T, for instance, that one's a little bit balked. I don't know whether it was because it was just a day one thing, or like, you know, if I won't be able to replicate it again. No, okay, it is actually working properly this time out. Right, okay. So basically what the issue was is normally there's a cooldown, as you can see. As the roof is going up, I can't press left stick again until the animation is properly done. And yeah, before, when I was having the issue with the California T, it was a little bit of a bug, but I could just constantly put the roof up and down without a cooldown. That's completely fine. So that was just a one-off type of thing. Right, fair enough. We then get on to other cars that are technically convertible, but aren't convertible. For instance, this. The Corvette ZR1. If we look at the car in Forza Vista, also as well, Forza Vista is just completely useless in this. There's literally just no point. You don't get any... like FH4 is the same, you know, you don't get anyone talking to you about the car. You literally just look at it, open some doors, change your veg plate, and sometimes take the roof off. So here you are, for example. There's me taking the roof off of the Corvette. So, you know, it clearly does work with the roof off. But as you can see, I press B, the roof's immediately back on, and then I teleport miles away. I can't take the roof off in game. And you can see, there's no option for it. But you can in Forza Vista. So, why have the option to take the roof off? Because you could do it in FH4, you could do it in FM7, take the roof off, but you then just can't drive with it with the roof off. The main one that I am massively annoyed at is this MX-5. Some of you may already know about this, but you know, I go to this MX-5, I take the roof off. You see here, it has got the animation. Also, that's a little bit wonky over there, but I can't be bothered. You can see there, it is fully animated, putting the roof down. There you are. So that is working, all of that animated. If I press B, you can already see the roof's back up. I can't take the roof down. That's all I have. Why? Why is it that the roof has clearly went through the trouble of animating it, but then not even allowing us to put the roof down? And I think this is a known bug by the developers, and they say they won't fix it. If that's true or not, I'm not too sure, but it's stupid as to why it properly functions, but then doesn't work. And then the other main one that I have a huge issue with is this Porsche, the 911 Speedster. If you go on YouTube and Google this car with the roof up or down, you will see that it has a proper animation for putting the roof up and down. That, where the roof, you see sort of just above the engine and whatnot, that properly works. So let's put the roof up. That's it. There's no animation. There's no animation whatsoever, despite the fact that you can Google one in real life and the roof works. It's the same with the Gallardo Spider. But the Gallardo Spider was in a previous game. This is brand new to Forza. And they can't be bothered to actually animate the roof. This is actually brand new, the roof doesn't actually get added or removed in time properly. So that's new, by the way. That is actually new. Normally when it fades to black, the roof will just be off, but now it's just popping out of existence. So really, you may as well just not fade the screen to black and just let it pop out of existence. So that's just the fact that that's a brand new car with a proper roof that isn't just a manual one you have to take off. It does it for you, but they can't be bothered to animate it. It is ridiculous. It really, really is stupid, and I really do not understand. Like like I said, there's no quality control in this whatsoever. And now we move on to the AIs. Forza have never had the strongest of AIs. They never have. The ones in FH5 are shockingly bad. In FH4 they weren't good at all. In FH5 they're even worse. Like, it's no secret now, everyone knows about the FH5 AIs in unbeatable difficulty practically cheat. And everyone knows that at this point. And then we've got the AIs in the trial, and they are some of the worst offenders I have ever seen. They will swerve about in random directions, crashing into you and whatnot. They will just fail to brake. They will lag all over the place, and they are horrible to race against because they drive worse than the stereotypical Forza player, and that's an achievement on itself. It's just they are just absolutely terrible to race against. But in single player, they're all right. But everyone knows that they're on unbeatable difficulty. Their cars are just faster in practically almost every single way. They can carry more straight line speed than you, they can carry more cornering speed than you at times. Their cars seem to never have understeer at times. But, it's just silly things like that. And I'm sure, that with tuning and whatnot, you wouldn't have these issues of, your car understeering, but it's just the AIs. I don't know what they're doing. I really don't, and they are just completely and utterly random on what they'll do. Like I said, they just teleport all over the place. And we've had ones where the AI will literally just teleport to the finish line. They will literally just teleport to the finish line in an official Horizon race. Just teleport to the finish line and then win. Like, what? And then we've got the and then, you've got some of the instances of catch-up. Well, the catch-up isn't that exaggerated in this game. Like, I've seen the AIs multiple times just be parked at the finish line. Not finish, let me past, and then they finish. Like, I don't understand. Now, yes, that has been updated a little bit, but the damage has already been there. That's the issue. With FM7, even when they fixed the game a lot, the damage was done. With FH5, the damage is still being done because they're breaking everything. And they're just not... And there's just no quality control in anything whatsoever. So it's just, well, I really don't get why they just do any of this. So really, going back to the convertibles, I think that this game would have been better off without having the option to put the roof down. They should never have advertised the fact that you can put the roof down if they're not even going to be bothered to actually try and animate the roof. So actually have it so that it's like the real counterpart. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just crap, lazy, and, you know, FH4, you can put the roof up or down, so I think pretty much these are just using, like, the same models or whatnot. So it's just Control-C, Control-V, but you can just put the roof up, so what we'll do, just fade it to black. TDU2, a game that's even older, does convertibles better. Because a lot of those are actually animated, and when you're driving around, the game doesn't just fade to black and then the roof disappears, it just fizzles out of existence. You know, if it's a manual hardtop, it will just fizzle out. If it's a manual roof, then you have to, like, unclip and whatnot, or if it's a Targa one, it just fizzles out of existence. I'm trying to think of examples of cars with a Targa. I think it's one of the Nissans. Here. I think it's this one, if I remember my Nissans correctly. Yeah, I believe it is. I remember seeing it on Top Gear. Yeah. I saw the option briefly, but I think that was because the UI weren't loading correctly. So yeah, you can't take the roof off Targas. Of that one, anyway. Even though that is one, but there you are. The S2000 as well. I know this one is a hard... This one is a hardtop. I think there's... Nope, this one doesn't have a roof that you can take off. The S2000CR, I think they have actually made that roof come off. Because I know that in PGR4, you can have an S2000CR. The S2000 in that game had no roof. With this, yep, no. You can't take the roof off of the S2000. Yeah, sure, it's a hardtop, but you know, PGR4 had an S2000CR and that had the roof off, so you can do it. They just can't be bothered to. So yeah. Honestly, as well, I think like if you're going to promote the fact that the game has convertibles, at least make the effort to actually add more convertibles. Because one of the things they have done, right, is they added a convertible option for the Willys Jeep, but basically all it does is put that down. That's all it does. Considering they added this and animated this, but they haven't fixed but they've done that, which didn't have an option, then they added it, and then animated it. That's already animated. That's in the Forza Thon. Sorry, not the Forza Thon. That's in the Forza Vista thing, and fully animated and whatnot. That will work. But they can't be asked to actually do it. Like, none of these you could put the roof, you can change the roof. That MX-5, for instance, they had a convertible. They had two of those Mazdas in FM7, one with the roof up and one with the roof down. You can't do anything with it. Oh yeah, there's a 620R with no shadow. Why? Like, why is it that a lot of the other cars have shadows, that one doesn't, and then the KTM doesn't in the little car collection little tab, and then the Huracan Evo doesn't when you're trying to buy it from the car pass? I don't understand what they're doing with this, and honestly, I think it's getting to a point now where it's going beyond saving at this point. The damage to FH5 has been done. It's still being done, and I honestly don't think that they're going to have to pull off an absolute miracle to get this game repaired, or they just scrap, or they just, you know, let this game die early and then release Forza Horizon 6 and fix a lot of the issues this game has. I think really that is the only viable thing at this point. They have to either fix a lot of things with this, or just leave it, or just let this game die early. Don't just keep adding stuff. Let it die, and then release something else new. Also, the other thing as well, I am going to touch on it briefly, but not massive amounts, is the drift gearbox. Everyone knows it. The drift gearboxes just break the electric cars. Some of them, it doesn't really matter too much. Like this Lotus Avaya, it doesn't really drop down too much. I think it loses 1 PI, but you just get... Basically, it helps this car out so much, because you can either... Because with the issue with it is you either focus on top speed, or you focus on the acceleration. Now with the drift gearbox, you have both. So it actually does help that car a lot. But everyone knows, if you go to the Razor Tachyon, the Jaguar I-Pace, mine's stock at the minute, but both of those are broken because of the drift gearbox. The Razor Tachyon even more so, because it still has all the handling, but now it has a drift gearbox, so it's even quicker than the S2 counterpart. So yeah, that is an overview of my entire thoughts on the state of Forza Horizon 5. It's not good. This is really digging its own grave at this point. So, with all of that aside, what would I say? Because obviously I want everything that I've said to be fixed, but there are certain things as well that I have issues with. And some of that, actually, before I do draw some sort of conclusion, because I've just remembered, I have another issue, and that is with the championships. This is going to tie in with the blueprints. I have another issue with the championships of this game, the car categories. Some of them are fine. You know, there are plenty of choices to choose from. We'll go to Milej, so I will show you some of them. Right, okay, so for instance, you know, you've got things like the manufacturer one. So if we go solo, create a custom blueprint. Right, okay, so we've got the car type. So you know, you've got anything goes. You've then got modern supercars, hypercars, retro supercars. You know, blah de blah de blah. It's typical stuff like you'd expect to see. Hot hatch, super hot hatch, stream track toys. You know, the shebang. One issue I have is modern rally. Now I didn't really think much of it, but when we had the a trial a while ago, it was B class of the Horizon Special. It was this B class Evo versus Impreza, and you have 12 cars: Evo 10, Evo 9, Evo 8, Evo 6, and then the Impreza's 22B, and then all of these. You know what? That's fine. You've got 12. I mean, it would be nice if we had more of the older Mitsubishi Evos, and I think the Subarus were probably missing the Blob Eye, and probably some, I think it was like a 2.5 Impreza, like a more base spec model in Forza Motorsport 1, and that's about it, I believe. We're missing, oh no, we do have the 2011, yeah. So I think on the Impreza front we're good for the time being. I think we're just missing the Blob Eye, and that's it. The Evos though are absolutely missing out. Like there's a Evo Estate that could have been cool to add in, and you know, Evo 7, whatnot. So you know, that's all fine. We then go to Modern Rally, right? And you think that, oh, Modern Rally, you know, we're probably going to have, like, you know, what's this going to entail? We've got 10 cars here. Evo 10, Evo 9, Evo 8, and then all the Imprezas except the 22B. Yeah, that's all you get. Why is Modern Rally a discipline? Why is this a normal car type championship? Why is it not a Horizon Special? Because if it was a Horizon Special, we'd have more hatchbacks in there. Like, you know, we'd have some more Hyundais in there. We'd have some Ford Fiestas, the Focuses, and things like that. Like, you know, a lot of the cars in Rally Monsters, let's say, you know, this for instance, or this, that could go in Modern Rally, as well. If like Rally Monsters was its main championship, because we've got quite a fair few options in here, you know, they could go into other places. That's just a photo edition, that doesn't really count. Although there was a Porsche rallying, so no, I'll let it allow. But like, you know, Modern Rally, we could, yeah, sure, it would bump the class all over the place. However, you know, that's not gonna be, you know, that wouldn't be anything surprising. Like, you know, you've got the barn finds and things like that. You know, you've got D class and then you've got an S2 class car. So yeah, there is that, and reasonably priced all over the shop and things like that. In terms of PI, but they're still sort of relatively close together. So it's just, I don't understand the point. Like a lot of the stuff, I don't really see. Oh yeah, so the GTS has been added. Oh yeah, because it was in a previous Force game. So I then have another issue with some of the other ones. I think, if I remember correctly, it was open tops. There's 28 open tops. A lot of them don't actually work. And these are just cars with the convertibles. Oh yeah, the Portofino was in there. The California T? Nope. California T isn't in this. Even though that got added recently, and you can take the roof down on that. That's not in his championship. Why? I haven't a clue. You know, at least 1S, that would have been cool to have. Why is the 720S Coupe in this, but not the 720S Spider? The Coupe isn't the convertible, it's the Spider. So, why is this there? Like, that's in here, but you can't even take the roof off. But the modern MX-5 isn't even in this discipline. Is that not a convertible? You know, we've got the Z4 here, but why not the MX-5? Why not the most recent MX-5? I don't understand. Like, well, you know, 1960 Corvette, 1970 Corvette, you can take the roof off on that. That's not in this discipline. The BAC Mono isn't in this discipline. And then we've got something else. I think it was... it wasn't Upgrade Heroes. I'm trying to remember what it was. Muscle versus Tuner. This is a horrible discipline. Because a lot of the muscle cars, you know, that's fine. 1969, you know, Corvettes. More of a sports car in my opinion, but I'll let it slide. You know, Camaros, Chevelles, Vipers, even though that's really a sports car. You know, so the muscle cars are relatively fine. Why that's there, I haven't a clue. And then we get to the tuners, and you know, you've got yes 2000, you've got the 92 NSXR, but not the 2005. I haven't a clue. RX-7, you've got the 97 RX-7. Cool, that is a tuner car. I'm happy with that. But this isn't count in that muscle versus tuners. Right, are you ready? We're back in Mazda. That's an RX-7. It's a Spirit R-Type A. That's not in the muscle versus tuners. The disciplines in this game don't work. They are terrible. There's no consistency with them whatsoever. They are all over the place, and they can't actually be... And they just will not fix them. They just will not. So... And now it's time for me to really talk about what needs to be fixed. Other than just everything I've said. What conclusions can I draw from this game? Honestly, I would not recommend it. I would only recommend this game for about 20 quid. Or if you have the Game Pass, then I'd get it then. But do not get... the Ultimate Edition or Game Pass is about 30 quid. It's... Wait till this game goes on sale. Or get a second-hand copy for about 20 quid. Because it's not worth... This is not worth the full price you're paying for it. Because there's just so many glaring issues that this game has that they seriously have to pull the finger out the arse to fix all of it. So, let's get on to the main issues I have. Whilst this game is still young, the car list still needs to be improving, which it will be over time. But what cars they add needs to be improved. I'm not interested in just having rehashed content day in, day out of just new cars. Week in, week out, we just get a car that was in FH4, was mitigated from the launch, and now added back as new content. No, I'm not interested in that. That would be better off, but as being purchasable with credits. What I think they should be focusing more on is getting newer cars. Cars that have not been in, well, either cars that have been missing for Forza for years, or just brand new cars to the Forza franchise as a whole, and not just solely have them focusing on both those cars being DLC. You know, I'd have less issues if, say for example, next week we get something like, I don't know, like an Audi, well, you know, an Audi 80, for instance. That'd be a great addition. Or maybe we get, like, I'm just trying to think. Maybe we do get, like, next week, an Aston Martin DB7. That would be so much better, because that car's been missing for years. Or, and, like, you know, so getting stuff like that. Also, adding more convertibles into the game. Just adding them more, so there's actually more of a purpose to having the convertibles being a thing. Add more convertibles with proper working roofs. Fix the MX-5 roof. The SLK55 I haven't touched up on. That doesn't have a roof. That roof doesn't fold whatsoever. Even though I think it's an older SLK though. But in TDU2, that roof folded down. In Forza 7? No. Sorry, in Forza Motorsport, Horizon, I'll get there eventually. In Horizon 5? Nope. But I will say that is a different generation of SLK, so... But I still think though that SLK, even with the hardtop, will fall down. So, you know, there is that, so... Take that one with a pinch of salt. So, yes, fix the convertibles, add more convertibles, add cars that have been missing the Forza for years, and add newer cars, brand new cars to the game, more to those that haven't paid for the DLC. That haven't paid for the car pass. Stop locking everything behind the car pass. Give people, you know, give the people that haven't bought it the chance to actually get brand new cars to the Forza franchise in FH5. That'd be so much better, so they don't feel obliged to actually get, just have to pay however much the car pass is, just so that they can get something that isn't just FH4 cars. Because what's the point? You may as well just play FH4 and, you know, just get the cars from there. The other thing is the AIs need to be fixed. The trial AIs are just absolutely terrible. They need to be fixed. They are just absolutely all over the place. In terms of how they drive and things like that, they'll just teleport all over the place. That needs to be fixed. That really does need to be fixed. The other thing as well is, like I said, the blueprints. I've not fully tested them out yet, because, well, we've really had no interest in actually trying to see if we can get our catch-up racing back working, because we just have no purpose for even wanting to play this game again on a regular basis. So, you know, that is the main thing. So blueprints definitely need to be fixed, AIs need to be fixed, cars and the animation of roofs need to be fixed. The expansion map I hope is good, because really it needs to give Snow Tires a purpose. Like, it's just, Snow Tires at the minute is just feeling like unnecessary space, and you may as well just repurpose it to off-road race tyres. Like, just put off-road race tyres capable on snow, or the next expansion to have snow, like, you know, all over the place. So you do, like, even on the tarmac races, you do need to use snow tyres. That's what needs to happen. And yeah, fix the multiplayer and fix the hosting of blueprint races. That needs to be fixed. So that is going to be it from me. I hope you enjoyed. If you have anything further to say, about anything I've said. Maybe I haven't covered something that you think I should have. Let me know in the description with what you think, or if you're gonna join my Discord, there'll be a link in the description as well. But I do hope you enjoyed, and once again I thank everyone for being patient with me whilst I was away. The support from a lot of you was just unbelievable, and I do thank you for it. So yes, that's gonna be it from me, and until next time, ciao for now.